Hi guys, how's it going this evening? So, yeah, 2023 haying is completed. Well, cutting it anyway. Haven't baled it yet, obviously, because I just kind of just finished cutting today. The young guy just took off. I suppose about half an hour ago or whatever, a little more than that. He's got to go home and get some diesel fuel because he says he's out and he doesn't have enough to make it to his next field, which is closer to home now. So, but all the hay is cut, and he even cut a little bit of the fence there, that fence that I've been slowly taking out. He cut right up to that little bush, because I told them last year that they would be able to, because there used to be a fence there, and that's the fence I've been meaning to take out, but the flood from last year decided to help me out with that, and it pulled it all out for me. But I didn't see that, so they ended up going around it with the cutters, but then I had to go and clean it up, of course, right away. So this stuff was a bastard to cut. They started cutting a little bit yesterday, which was kind of the day after a 2-day rain event that we had. So this hay was a little wet, and what was the other thing too? Oh, this hay stinks. It stinks. I don't know why it stinks, but it stinks like frickin' flood water. It's the first time I've ever smelled disgusting hay. It's like I don't even want it. I mean, you know, the first, well, you know that like at least 3 inches up, you know, it's all good stuff, but it's just, they've been cutting it as slow as they can, but they've had to abandon that because, well, one, it's too rough, and yeah, the field's rough and it's tough cutting. I mean, like when they were cutting the other day, well, when the kid was doing it, yeah, it was yesterday. They, oh man, I swear he was going less than 3 miles an hour. It was just a freaking crawl through everything. And then, over here, this was about 10 feet to my right, the young guy plugged the mower, and he plugged it solid. It took a good 35 minutes to unplug that son of a bitch. And even I was involved helping. Makes things go a little quicker, obviously, but my God, what a freaking nightmare that became. But it's over. We got it unplugged and told him to, well, there was still a little bit of hay in there, but I said, you know what? Put the tractor at full throttle, turn the PTO on. Maybe if the mower goes at cutting speed, maybe it'll just blab it all out, you know, and it'll just chew it all up real quick. So I guess somewhere around here, well, I guess that would be the next wind row over. I guess he caught the stump, because there are trees along this old fence line, but I've been taking them out. But I guess that one stump wasn't low enough, and this is their first time ever cutting it. But you're not going to know until you cut it what needs to be done. Now I know what needs to be done. But he caught that one stump, and it actually stopped the tractor. Like he was just spinning his tires. So I have to come down here sometime this year and see if I can get rid of it at least some more. It needs to rot down, but it's not going to rot because, I mean, eventually it would rot, but it's going to take a few years, and we don't really have a few years. But yeah, he cut right up to this little bush here, which is where I stopped cleaning. But it is more now, you know. So, and it's grass I didn't have to cut. I didn't have to mow it down, you know, and waste it. That's what was pissing me off, is that it always went to waste when it could have been going into part of a bale or something. So so now I got the cut up to these 2 bushes, which are on my hit list next to take out. Luckily they're small enough that it won't be that big of a deal, but I think they were trees at one time, and then I cut the tree down, and then they just started kind of growing as bushes. So this is one here. You're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but well, I guess if I take you guys out of the mount, you'll be able to see. So there's that bush. You see he cut everything past it, because this is where I told him that they'd be able to definitely cut, would be south of this, of that bush. So that's going to be next to take out. And then if you follow me here, there might be a post in here. I'm not really sure. That's what I got to look into next. But then if I get that cleaned out, going into next year, they will be able to cut up to maybe this bush, depending if I take this bush out as well this year or not. I haven't decided. And then behind that is a stump, right kind of there, just right above the mirror. There's a tree stump there, which I need to also take out. But then from here on, it's fairly clean. Like, there's no trees in it. There's a few small bushes, but nothing that, you know, I can't handle. So like right here, there's 2 dead bushes. Right here, I believe, right there, right above, right where my finger's at. That's one, which is a tiny little guy. And then there's another one right here, which I think it tried to grow back, but then for some reason it died. So if we clean that, now just follow me here on this camera and watch what I do here. You know, so you can tell where we have to clean yet, but just watch though. If you guys can see this okay, look at how much cleaning I would not have to do. Now there might be the occasional wooden post in here. I don't know that. But there's no trees in here. I'm driving on a windrow. It gets pretty skinny here. But keep following me though. Like I said, there's gonna probably be some barbed wire in here. Okay, but that's easy stuff. I'm not worried about that. I think there's a bush growing in there, which again, I don't know, the mower could probably handle taking that down. Okay. So just keep following me here. Keep following me here. And I don't know, when the kid was doing it, I guess he must have finally found his man balls or something. I don't really know, but he was really risking it here, because I think he cut in further into my fence line, which is fine, but it's kind of a risk because you don't know if there's a post in there or some barbed wire. But he took a risk. He didn't cut it obviously all, because you know that there's something in there. So here is where the trouble begins. We got a big massive tree and a little bush. Okay, that's gonna be, this tree's dying anyway, so I don't really care, but it needs to come down. But it's gonna be a while before we get probably to this point. It's probably gonna be at least a couple of years. I don't know. It all really depends on how fast I'm willing to move. You know. So, and then we have this bush. Okay, that's actually not really a big deal. It's got berries on it. I don't think you can eat them. I think only the birds can eat them. But you can see, I mean, how much we have to clean before we hit this big tree. But So that's pretty good ground, you know, that we gained. Now we can get past this dead tree, get up to this bush. Now between this bush and that tree, that's probably 10 feet. And then from this bush to, I guess you can see it on the camera, from that bush to these other bushes now. Here's where we get into more bushes and trees. This is where we're kind of getting into the thick of it now. So as you can see, a lot of this is just bushes, but there are the occasional dead tree. But yeah. So, but again, I can see it right now. Right there's some barbed wire hanging in that tree. That's going to be a problem, because that tree is growing through the barbed wire. I mean, I could just cut the barbed wire right up to the tree and there you go, but it's more work. Here's a tree that I think I could probably take down this year. One, here's right here. Yeah, it's tall, but look at how skinny, you know, the main trunk of that tree is. So if I could clean that out from there to, well, follow me here again, from that tree to, there is a wooden or steel post here. Okay, we pull that out, no big deal. But pull the barbed wire out, whatever. They could cut from that little tree up to this big dead tree. But I don't know if they'd really do that, because that's a lot of bobbing in and out. But again, here is the next tree, and this tree is slowly dying anyway, and things have been falling off of it for the last couple of years. So get rid of it, whatever. I would like to buy a stump grinder. I know you can get them off Northern Tool. I don't need anything fancy, because I'm just going to probably use it on these stumps, maybe the ones in my yard, and then maybe some at the farmyard, and then that's it. Here's another bush we need to take out. Okay, and then we're getting into some more fencing. So we have a wooden post right there. That's a wooden post that needs to come out. We're not going to throw it away. We will hang on to it, because we can find another use for it. And then we have another one. I don't know how to do this here, because we got windrows everywhere. So here's one. Okay, that's going to come out. We'll repurpose it for something else. But then there's going to be one more, and this is the one that's got my sign hanging on it. Let me get out of the way here. Okay, see it there? That one is going to stay regardless, because that needs to hold my sign. It needs to be pulled out and re-straightened, but it seems like it's in there pretty good regardless. But that's what needs to be done. So we are getting kind of down. If we take out those two bushes this year, clean the barbed wire, check for barbed wire and fencing materials and whatever, they could cut easily another, I've never walked it, I'm gonna guess, what is that, 100 feet probably, maybe even more. There's even more hay, more clean field. There's two reasons to why this needs to be done. Well, one, we're not going to put cattle down here anymore. I mean, if we do, we can just let them have the whole field. That's how the great-grandparents fed their cattle in the summer months, is where it was fenced off. They got that. The big square field is what got cut for hay, plus roadside ditches and whatever else. Why I'm cleaning that fence row out is because, one, I don't want it there anymore. Because, I mean, if we're going to put cattle down here, we're just going to use electric fencing. You know, okay, well, you can take the electric fencing out anytime you wish, and you can cut it for hay or mow it, whatever. So the trees will never grow there again once I take them out. Number two is, well, what did I say here now? I'm cleaning it. I want it clean. I want it to look nice. The second reason kind of is so the young guy can kind of cut that more square. Okay, and then number 3 is we're not wasting hay. We're gaining a little bit of hay. Now, we won't gain much out of that little bit of hay, even if once we do cut all that shit down, it's still going to add up. Will we get half a bale out of just that fence line? I doubt it. But it can be added to whatever bale's in the baler already. And it'll help fill the baler up a little quicker. So that's the whole reason as to why I'm doing that. And I've been going at it for like 5 years now. But I think there's 1 year that I skipped. I just didn't feel like doing it. And I haven't done anything yet this year. But that's because there wasn't really much to, I mean, there is stuff to do. But last year I was going to take out that little bit of fencing. Well, the flood did it for me. So all I had to do was cut it up, clean it up, throw it away. So now the next project now is to take those 2 bushes out and cut the stumps down as low as I can get them. And then they can cut that little bit more. And then from there we'll just kind of continue on. So it's making, you know, it's progress. We are getting this stuff knocked down. It's going to take a few years because I'm not in a hurry and I want to take my time with it and make sure I don't miss anything. I mean, the most important thing is barbed wire and stumps, but he did hit one, but it didn't do any damage, luckily. So I'm going to maybe come down here sometime this summer after baling gets done and over with, and figure out what I can do with that stump. See if I can work it down some more. I don't know if I could just, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe just take the sledgehammer to it and see if I could just pound it into mush, but that might take quite a bit. Could take an axe to it. That would, you know, you could chip at it. Of course, you could do that with the chainsaw too, but I don't know, I just haven't really decided. It needs to come down a little bit more so they don't get hung up on it next time, but you know, I don't know what I have to do until they just do it. So when they already did, so now I know what I need to do to fix that problem. So we will go take care of that problem. When? I don't know, because I don't have time tonight. I want to go home. It's almost 8 o'clock. I haven't even eaten anything yet. I want to go eat. It sounds like we might be using the rake because the young guy says this stuff is having a hard time drying out, which he says, well, it's going to have a hard time drying out, even though we're having some good heat, but this stuff's a little tough. And it's just, I don't know. He wants me to be hooked up and ready anyway. And it's going to be probably a couple days yet before we actually have to touch the rake. But the thing is I have to take it to my shop and put air in the tires. And then it's 100% ready to go. So that's what I would like to kind of do maybe tonight. Get the hay rake hooked up, test it, put air in the tires, and it'll just stay hooked to the hay rake, you know, until I guess we no longer need it. But it sounds like the young guy thinks we're going to need it anyway. So yeah. So anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. I'm going to head home and have something to eat and then see if the old 15 will start. I haven't started that thing, I don't think, in probably a good month. Start it up, go hook it up to the rake, and take the rake to the shop, put air in the tires, and then be ready. Then we can move on. So anyways, guys, I guess I'm going to take off. So I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.